Okay.
Okay.
I'm in record.
Now, obviously, Raymond, if you get tired, we'll just stop.
Absolutely.
We're trying not to take up too much of your time, though. Just to get this started, just to give some audio level, just make sure we've got it okay. Your name,
Rank.
a serial number, and the name of your book, actually, which is really interesting, because a lot of you has been reading it.
Right. Okay, the name's Raymond Young, and the book I wrote was called Annie's Loo.
How's that for them?
That's perfect, yeah.
I want to start at the very beginning. The bit I want to start with you here, Raymond, is the whole history of housing associations in Scotland. How did they first begin, and when did they first begin?
Housing associations go way, way back. So about, I think, if I remember rightly, the 17th century.
Well, I didn't expect to go back to the 1970s. I didn't
No,
expect
no,
to go back that far.
No, because people would do an almshouse. And I think the first almshouse for older people was done somewhere around Kirkcaldy Way, way back in the 17th century. And that really is the beginnings of it, because it's about a voluntary, it's neither the state nor the private sector providing housing. So it goes a way back, but you can forget all that in many ways, because that's so ancient. The real growth of housing associations starts. You remember the television programme Cathy Come Home?
Yeah, well, I've been very, very young, Raymond, I'll be honest, but I do know of the programme.
You heard of it, yes. Well, Cathy Come Home was launched in 1968, and at the same time, Shelter was set up, and they picked up some of the work that had been done, particularly in the south of England, about setting up housing associations. So in Scotland, they set up 3 housing associations. They were called Christian Action Glasgow Housing Association, Christian Action in Greenock, and Christian Action in Edinburgh. And these 3 housing associations were populated by people that Shelter asked to come and be part of the management committee. What they did was they decided they would buy flats when they came on the market with voluntary money, money they had raised. They would buy a flat, and if it didn't have a bathroom in it, they would put a bathroom in it in quite a complicated way of having to take, they couldn't take the pipe down the building. They had to take the pipe out the building and then down the back wall. But they did that, and these shelter-based organisations did some very useful work I think it was actually Cathy Come Home was 66. I've told a lie earlier already. And it was, they did some very useful work providing housing. Clearly what they were concerned about was providing housing for homeless people. And that's where that's really, that whole question of Christian Action and its approach was critical to getting the next stage going. And the next stage, of course, was that this was about homeless people. The question was, what about people that are living in really poor housing conditions at the present moment? And if you looked at as I did in 1970, at Govan, Govan had just started to be a comprehensive development area, which meant the council had a plan to redevelop it over about a 15-year period. And if you actually looked at it, there were corners, and this particular corner next to the shipyard was not due to be redeveloped until 15 years on. So the question was that what happens to people who live in that? They've got there's not even an inside toilet. They share a toilet, 1 to 3 houses on the landing. What happens if a child is born today and lives there? It means it has its whole growth without a bathroom. Is there a way we can deal with that in some ways? And that was the question that sparked really the whole question of doing tenement rehabilitation.